You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions and your phone calls. Expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. SEC, ACC, and Big Ten coverage like no other. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Get your Sunday football morning started off right with the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert, a 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football year-long and your DFS payouts. The only true Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy in your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Sundays, all NFL season long.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to fit sold.
Pop stars with auto tune.
Yeah.
And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much, we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Saturday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Dixie Football Nation is back and better than ever. We got Tony Agolini, Matt Carr, Tones Areola, Bobby and Angelo, along with Mac McGee this fall. Dixie Football Nation heads to the gridiron, talking ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and all the big games throughout the college football land. That's Dixie Football Nation, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Saturday mornings on the Armchair Quarterback Show's YouTube channel, going live, or catch the instant replay.
Take the road less traveled in the newly redesigned Hyundai Santa Fe. With available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you get off the beaten path a little further together. And intuitive safety features that can help you see what's waiting around the bend. Plus, with generous room for 5 and comfortable available Napa leather seating, you can go for more drives as a family without driving each other crazy. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Me out to the ball game. Get caught up with the big stories from around the world in sports in just a few minutes. It's Take Me Out to the Ball Game today, weekdays. Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube. Baseball, football, basketball, whatever's trending in the world of sports, it's on Take Me Out to the Ball Game today in just a few minutes. It drops weekdays, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, as Wake Up Y'all is ending. Take Me Out to the Ball Game today on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Take me out to the ball game. The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live, covering the AFC South and NFC South along with the rest of the NFL. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
CBS Sports Radio, your home for all things sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coast to coast. Great sports talk expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the ground.
Good morning. Welcome here to Take Me Out to the Ball Game. We're getting you set for Joey to join us. I believe Tones will be here, but he had a late flight, so we'll see what happens with that. We've got a lot to go over and a little time to do it, so I'm going to jump on here and go ahead and throw out the morning lines. By the way, if you missed the memo, there is a game going on right now in London. It's a terrible game. It's the Falcons and Jets, but it is a game. And so we'll keep you abreast of that if you have any interest in it. One thing of note, we'll see if he comes back into play. Cordero Patterson came out of the game with a concussion. Isn't that just lovely? And so we will be keeping an eye on that. We will be keeping an eye on everything here as the day moves along, as the games move along, and of course, as the spreads move along. And so we'll go ahead and start off with the lines, and then we'll take a quick break and jump back in. But I wanted to throw all the lines out there to you. Late night action, by the way, Bama lost in college football, which was the big thing. Yesterday, Florida State blew out North Carolina in North Carolina. That was a shocker. And we'll get into other things later on in the show. But real quick, the lines across the NFL as we wake up this morning. Tennessee, 4.5-point favorites at the Jags. Patriots are an 8-point favorite at Houston. The Dolphins are 10-point underdogs against the Bucks. Falcons lead the Jets 3-0. The over-under on that was 45.5. So if you have any interest in that, I did take the under in that game. I feel like that under is going to hit. Two bad offenses playing overseas. Probably a groggy way to wake up. It's 9:30 in the morning local time or local time back home. And so usually it takes a little jet lag. Those are usually lower scoring games. Packers -3 at the Bengals. The Lions are a 10-point underdog at Minnesota. Denver is now a 1.5-point favorite at the Steelers. The news did break today that Teddy Bridgewater is going to play. And then you have Saints in Washington. The Saints are a 3-point favorite right now, 2.5 on some books. And then you've got the Eagles, who are a 3-point underdog at Carolina. The Bears are a 5.5-point favorite at Vegas. And the Chargers, 2.5-point favorites at home against the Browns. That's a 4:05 kickoff. The Cowboys kick off late. That's a 7-point favorite against the Giants. And then the 49ers are a 5-point underdog at Arizona. Be wary of that line. Feel like that 49ers are due, and when a team is 4-0 in the NFL, they're usually due for a loss. Bills and Chiefs tonight. The Chiefs are a 3-point favorite, and there you have that. Tomorrow night's game, Baltimore is a touchdown underdog. All right, it's about time to go ahead and start this thing, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Tones in, or bring Joey in, excuse me, and then we'll be back in just a flash.
Hi, asking genuinely, how do you throw a punch?
With your hand. Listen, did you know that the typical cumulus cloud weighs about 1.1 million pounds? Now you do.
Hi, asking genuinely.
If you get a nail in your tire, don't get it fixed. Just put air in it every morning. Be a man.
He may not listen to you sometimes.
Or respect you.
Sure, we like making fun of you.
What? There is no but. That is all.
Armchair.
What's the worst first date I've ever been on? I'm so glad you asked. I'm going to tell you right now. Before I met my smoke show of a husband, I was on dating apps. As you do. This man messages me out of the blue and he goes, I like your face. Let's go get some food. I love food. Are you my soulmate? He says, meet me at my house. I will drive us to the restaurant together. Why did we not just meet there? I have no idea. I drive 45 minutes to his house. He's standing outside of it. He walks up to my car and he goes, I've lost my keys. Can you drive us there? Should I have just left him right there and gone home? Yes. Did I? Absolutely not. He gets in, starts giving me turn-by-turn directions. He could have been leading me to an abandoned warehouse and he still would have been like, left at this stop sign? Okay. We end up at a Taco Bell, which is fine. I'm like, dine in or drive through? And he's like, drive through. I'm like, great, he has a plan. We get to the speaker and he just leans over and goes, I would like 100 hard shell tacos. Thank you. We get to the window. He does one of these numbers. I'm like, did you forget your wallet? He's like, yeah. I was like, do you need me to pay? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I buy the 100 tacos and I'm like, where to next? And he goes, back to my house. And I was like, okay, this is happening. I'm committed to this now. It's happening. We get to his house, we walk in, his dad is on the couch. I'm like, he lives with his dad. It's fine. The hoops I am teleporting through to convince myself that this decision that I have made is okay is just wild. Walk past his dad into the kitchen. He just starts emptying the boxes of tacos, just releasing them onto the table, puts 2 chairs at the table, sits down, and he just screams at the top of his lungs, let's feast. I am just calmly unwrapping my taco and taking a bite of it. We are eating hard shell tacos in complete silence. You can hear both of us chewing. It's absolute chaos. The dad walks up, grabs a taco. There's 100 of them. We have so many to spare. He's eating over us, just like standing, doesn't sit, stands right next to the table, crunches, mouth full. He just looks at me and he goes, do you want to see my studio? And I was like, I have never wanted to see anything less in my entire life. It was that moment that I decided this date was completely over or else I was going to be killed 100%. I am now just like collecting the tacos because I paid for them. I walk out with boxes of tacos in my purse. I look back and I was like, thank you for this experience. You will never hear from me again.
Welcome to the Handicappers, your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert, a 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football, year long, and your DFS payouts. True Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy in your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers. Welcoming in Bobby the Kid with Joey and Tones Areola, with Stephen Troche and Sean O'Toole on the way. With your host, Matt McGee. Welcome to the Handicappers. Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers. Joey, my man, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Still buzzing off last night's matchups, man. Between the college slate, the boxing match, what a day to be alive. And now we got Sunday NFL football.
I don't believe Tones is going to make it.
He's had a mess of a trip.
Yeah, I got the Cliff Notes, and he said that he got in late. So we will power on without him. By the way, I mentioned the Cordero Patterson was out with concussion protocol, getting checked in the tent. He's back on the field, so everything should be okay. So I don't even understand why he went into protocol. If you watch the play, it was a little strange that he even went into protocol. He didn't get banged in the head, but you know how they are nowadays. Between that and COVID, there's always a reason why your fantasy guys are on the bench. But anyways, that game is 3-0 right now, and the Falcons are on the goal line, and Patterson's done much of the work. And of course, they're going to take him out now to get vultured. And thank you very much. But anyway, I had to start him. Well, I didn't have to. I decided to start him in a couple of leagues, and there has been a touchdown. Kyle Pitts catches a touchdown pass.
Finally.
So for y'all that are Pitts owners, I had him in so many leagues. I did trade him away in a keeper league today or this week, which I wanted to keep him per se, but I have him. I counted it up. I had him in 5 keeper leagues. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't have so many, so many shares of a guy. So I'm fine with that. I got Nick Chubb out of the deal, so I think I'll be okay. So the Falcons are now up 10-0. And the over under there was 45.5. I'd like to see the scoring slow down a little bit because I did take the under, and hopefully it'll get mucky and miry over there in London, and they'll kind of slow this down. But anyways, Falcons 10, the Jets nothing, and we kick off today's action as it's kind of a treat to have a game going on this early. You get a little extra action. It does make it for a much longer day. If you are someone who got up this morning to watch that game, and then you're going to go all the way to the Chiefs and Bills game tonight, I mean, you're asking someone to sit there on the couch for right at 15 hours.
For all the men out there with girlfriends or wives, I hope you got your things out of the way the past couple of days.
There's just, yeah, exactly.
But there's too much on. Baseball playoffs. We had the big boxing match, college football. That's why I said on Friday, you can't move from your couch the entire weekend. This is one of the best lineups we've had in some time, I feel like.
Yeah. How about Alabama Crimson Tide taking it on the chin? I was surprised by that because A&M had played so poorly. But when I saw the atmosphere in that joint at kickoff night game, it's a much different feeling College Station night game than your typical day kickoff games that you see. And I think Alabama was thrown off by it. Everyone's going to overreact to it.
Of course.
And they're going to say Alabama's trash and blah, 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 blah. I've said it for 3 weeks now. People will finally come around and realize that, I'm not wrong. Georgia's the best team in college football right now.
Yep. I said I agreed too. When they were both undefeated, I was agreeing with you.
But all your prognosticators and whatnot, fan reaction, they're like, oh, it's still Alabama. And Alabama's shown nothing on the field that makes you think that they're the number 1 team in the country or even top 5. They struggled against a bad Florida team or an average Florida team. They have not been tested much. They played Miami, but Miami's terrible. And you look at now that they've lost to A&M, I don't know if they can run the slate and beat Georgia. I think you saw Bryce Young was extremely overrated. And I think it's funny that he got like $1 million in endorsements this year before he ever took a snap. Him and DJ Ugalele have both fallen on their faces. Young, I think, looks like a much better quarterback than Ugalele. Ugalele looks terrible. He's awful. But you put all that in a blender. Iowa gets a big win against Penn State. I think they will meet each other again because, well, it'll be
unless Ohio State gets in the way.
Possibly. Ohio State, Penn State's going to be huge because the winner that's going to have control of their destiny, because then they would go to the Big Ten championship game to win. The winner, I believe, goes to the playoffs. This might be the first year in forever that the winner of the Big Ten championship will go to the playoffs. And what I mean by that is normally it's if Ohio State wins it, they go to the playoffs. But if Ohio State loses it, the team that beat them doesn't go to the playoffs, right? This might be the first time. And I don't remember the last time were there two juggernauts on each side. We'll see if it keeps up with Iowa, but they're a fun team to watch. Gritty team. And how about my Seminoles?
I was going to say, after being down 10-0, I'm like, oh, here we go again. And then sure enough, the offense starts rolling.
They just, I still haven't gone back and watched the entire game. I'm going to do that today. But during that game, I was doing the Braves game. I kept looking over my eye. I was like, man, if I keep locking in over there, I'm going to quit paying attention to the Braves game. You know, it's going to be
a big win there too.
Yeah. I'll be able to go, how are there 2 outs in the inning? Oh, my bad, y'all, for that. 3 minutes of dead air with my mouth hanging open. But from what I saw, the offense was clicking. Now, I think that might be more indicative that North Carolina is just not as good as they were prognosticated at the beginning of the year. Because remember, they already lost to Virginia Tech out the gate. That is now their 3rd loss of the season. Notre Dame gets a big win on the road. Congratulations on that.
Yep.
Close ball game. I was watching those 2 games last night, Alabama and Notre Dame, and then I had the Giants-Dodgers game, which just turned into a disaster late. But I do love that rivalry, man. Watching that game, that crowd going crazy. It's going to be the same thing. So for people who don't know what's going on in baseball, real quick, we'll set it up and then we'll move on. You've got 2 games today. One of them is the 4:00 game, which is strange, is Boston Tampa, and then the 8:00 game is Houston Chicago. And I guess they did that because those are big television markets in Chicago and Houston, and that though Boston's a huge television market, Tampa is not. But I think America would have rather seen Sunday night for it to be Boston and Tampa. So I'm a little surprised that those were the time zones, but those are the games today. Tomorrow you've got a quadruple header. So, well, maybe if the White Sox win, but the Braves will play at 1 against the Brewers. And then if there is a game 4 in Chicago, it's being played at 3:30 Eastern. If it's not, then that game is just eliminated and you get your 2 games tomorrow night, Boston and Tampa, which will be an elimination game for somebody. And then the late game tomorrow night, 9:37, I think is the first pitch, is Giants Dodgers. And so we will have the Braves game here again tomorrow at 1:00 Eastern on our YouTube channel. I'll be doing the play-by-play. And then Tuesday they play at 5. So 5:00 and the Giants Dodgers at 8:00. So there you have that. Put all that away. Let's get ready to talk some NFL football.
Let's go.
Let's talk about, we're going to be ready for some fantasy football. I'm interested to see where you're going today. Give me your cold and bold predictions and why you're going that way.
Yeah, for my cold and bold predictions, I mean, for cold, I'm just saying the Teddy Bridgewater news, I guess apparently he's starting now. That's correct.
Yes, that came across maybe an hour or so ago.
Yeah, so I was going to say if you have any Broncos or Dolphins, I would just say cold on all of that. Teddy Bridgewater news. changes my mind a little bit, but if you have Broncos players or if you have Dolphins players, to me today, they are not going to put many points on the board. I'd be very skeptical. The Dolphins came off of a bad loss at home to my team, Indianapolis, and the Broncos lost at home against Denver. And like I said, and we both alluded to, the quarterback situation is a little iffy with Bridgewater coming out of the protocol. So, I say cold on both those teams. If you have fantasy players there, just be careful because you might not see the best matchups that you want to see. And then going into Eagles Panthers game, I think that's going to be a high scoring affair. I think between Hurts and Sam Darnold, they're going to both have great days. So if you have a quarterback league where, you might be tossed up between some quarterbacks, if you have anybody in Eagles Panthers, I would say that's my bold prediction there.
All right. So run that by us one more time.
Yep. So if you have any, I'm thinking if you have any Denver Broncos or if you have any, just off the top of my head, I'm missing it now. But if you have any Denver Broncos in your lineup or Miami Dolphins, I would be skeptical about playing many of them at all. Even a guy I know.
I don't know if I would ever put a Miami Dolphin in this year.
Right. I mean, just even if they're not playing a good defense like they weren't last week. So Miami.
I have a few shares. We all know I have just way too many leagues, but I do have a few shares of Gaskin. He's become dispensable to me. I've dropped him in many leagues to pick up players that are just better. I mean, there's no other way to say it. We thought Gaskin would be a workhorse. He is to a degree, but he gets absolutely no production. And he'll get his 14 to 15 touches. But my God, he's barely stumbling out of the gate. So, and I can't think of anyone. Look, Fuller just got hurt again.
Yep, he's done for a while.
You don't have very good quarterback play there, no matter who ends up behind center.
No, Jacoby Brissett, watching him, it's just roll out right and hope for the best. It's pretty ugly.
Yeah, it's bad. You haven't even noticed what I'm wearing today.
I couldn't. Hey, the military girl, I couldn't notice through. What? Wow, where'd you get that? Is that
It's a Colts jersey.
I know. Is that a Unitas?
Yes, Johnny Unitas. That's the whole reason why I got it. I got it a few years ago.
I love that because actually, it's funny you say that. I have some military gear on the way as well for the Colts. I just couldn't tell because it's literally right behind the mic. It says Colts, but that is awesome, and I highly respect that.
Yeah, well, they're not playing today, so I feel like I'm not giving them good luck. So that's number one. And I figured, I'll show you some props for the the Colts. We always go back. I had to even it out wearing the Oilers / Titans hat.
I like that old school hat though a lot.
But yeah, I'm digging more and more jerseys out that didn't used to fit that are starting to fit again. So
isn't that a good feeling always?
Yeah, and I pulled this one out. I was like, man, and when I first grabbed it, I was like, I ought to wait until Veterans Day. I was like, I'll never remember. I'm wearing it today. Screw it. But yeah, so my bold and cold predictions, I think I'm going to go with. Okay, so let me start with my cold prediction. I don't think Najee Harris will have a very good day against that Denver defense. By the way, I think both offenses are going to struggle. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the over-under, last time I saw was like 39-ish. And I don't know if it gets to that because you do have Bridgewater playing, but it's not like Bridgewater's a gunslinger. I don't want to call him a game manager because I feel like when you say that, you're kind of insulting him. But by the way, Patterson keeps touching the ball left and right. So I don't know what his fantasy points are right now. But if you put Patterson in your lineup, you're probably going to have a good day because no Ridley, for whatever reason, personal reasons, as they're calling it. That could be anything. But
well, when it comes to fantasy too, I know like my buddy who's over for today, he was trying to get Cordell Patterson involved in trades. I feel like a lot of fantasy owners right now are trying to sell high on him, but it doesn't look like he's slowing down too much at the same token. So that's a tough guy to predict for the next 6 to 10 weeks.
Yeah. Cordell Patterson. Look, in that trade that I mentioned, I traded away Mike Davis as a part of the deal, but I've got Patterson. I'm a little surprised he didn't ask for Patterson. I was like, I'm so done with Mike Davis, dude. That was like the worst free agent signing. Because they haven't used it. Well, they'll use him. They will give him his 10 to 14 touch, but he doesn't do anything. Hey, you talk about Gaskin being bust. My God, is Mike Davis. Because Mike Davis was going much further. By the way, if this play stands, Kyle Pitts has made a one-handed grab that was just insane going out of bounds. Holy cow.
He would go off on the day we do DFS after he plays.
Right. Exactly. I went to pull up the lineup today, and once again, nobody reminded me on Saturday. So I remembered Sunday morning. It's like, oh, crap, I didn't do it again. I want to get these things out to you all on Saturday, but no one reminds me, so it is what it is. But I went to look it up. I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to go Pitts or not. Oh, that's right. He's playing at 9:30. I'm not going to screw it. I don't have to worry about that. Back to my bold and cold predictions. With the cold prediction, like I said, Najee Harris. I just don't feel like that the Steelers are going to move the ball well, and I don't necessarily see them playing with the big lead, and I think that's what you're going to have. And I do believe that they're going to try to bottle him up. It's crazy to say because Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Famer, but not so much anymore.
Oof.
And you're really more concerned with shutting down Harris than you are worried about stopping the plethora of offensive weapons at the wide receiver position. So that's my cold prediction. My bold prediction today. It sucks that he's already starting to go off because Patterson was one of the guys that I had circled. I'll go a different route. My bold prediction today, I'm going to take a guy that's a little lower on the chart. We don't know the injury status yet. If Cook doesn't play, look out for Alexander Madison because, of course, the Falcons scoring some bozo freaking Hurst. Hurst just vultured a touchdown.
Geez, blowout city.
Yeah, it is 17-0 with the quick fast. I'm glad I didn't go with the original. I was thinking about taking the Jets +3. That is not working out well.
I feel like a lot of people like the Jets +3 and it's not working out well.
I thought they'd both I figured that the Falcons would probably win, but I just kind of expected them both to be going. You know what we might be seeing here is a young Jets team who went over there to see the sights and the sounds and everything, and a veteran, we'll call it old Falcons team who's over there treating it like a business trip. Because the Jets have no belief that they're going to make the playoffs.
Nope.
But the
Matt
Falcons,
Ryan always.
Matt Ryan is sitting there going, man, if we can win this game, we're 2-3. We're back in the conversation because they're not going to win the division, but they are going to win. But they are going to have a shot at some kind of a wild card now that they're 7 apiece. I'll throw another bold prediction out there, one that's a little less off the beaten path because once again we don't know about the injury status. I think Damian Williams is going to have a good day against Vegas because I believe that they're going to try to keep it now that they know that Montgomery's gone for 4 to 5 weeks. He got his reps in, and I would think that they're going to try to keep the ball out of Justin Fields' hand offensively. In other words, they don't want to see him throw more than about 20 passes, maybe 25, right? And another guy that's down on the charts, but I expect him to have a big day, is CEH against Buffalo. I expect that to be a high-scoring game going back and forth, and they love the dump-offs and whatnot. So,
what a way to end the weekend with that game right there.
Yeah, and you've got a decent Monday Night Football game. I know the Colts are 1-3, but it's in Baltimore, and it's an interesting game because everyone's drinking the Baltimore Kool-Aid right now, but the Colts Baltimore game should be a low-scoring slobber knocker, and it's a 7-point spread right now. I don't feel comfortable either way taking either one because I think I've got the Ravens winning by around 7 to 10 points, and that's just too close in my mind to be able to take or to give up the points. I haven't really looked at the over under, but let's go ahead and get into your DFS lineup of integrity. Where are you going today?
Okay, yeah. So for my lineup for DFS lineup of integrity today, I'm going to go with Tom Brady at the quarterback position. My brother's down there. I feel a little, hopefully good juju, as he's had a bad trip so far, but yeah, I could get him at 7,400. I'm going to take him throwing the ball to Mike Evans at 6,800 to get the link there. So Tom Brady and Mike Evans. My running back one will be Aaron Jones. I think Green Bay is going to do a good job of getting him involved today, as always, at 7,900. I have Damian Williams. I think the Bears are going to play well today and actually cover that spread, and he'll be a big part about that at 5,600, being the starter right now. I also, in that matchup, have Hunter Renfrow. Talk about, man, that play he made last week. How can I not take a guy who tackles on a fake punt with 10 men on the field? So I took him at 4,900. Devontae Smith, as I alluded to earlier, I think the Eagles are going to put up points today, and he's been a little bit, more consistent than some other young receivers right now. At him at 5,900. I also have another Packer at tight end, Robert Tonyan. I think this, a lot of people, I'm a little worried about that spread because it seems too good to be true. But that being said, I think the Packers put up points and Tonyan will get in the end zone for them there. I have Christian Kirk as my flex at 4,900. They're playing a banged up San Fran team. I just feel like Arizona at home is just going to put on a show today. And then with the money I had left, I took the Texans defense because I don't know who's playing on the New England Patriots offensive line. And that spread, it hasn't really adjusted much because of that. But Houston's offense is really bad, but I think defensively they might show up at home against a team with not much of an offensive line.
All right, let me go ahead and pull mine up. I still feel like New England wins that game.
I do too. They're going to win that. I just think it's going to be like 21-10.
Oh, if that high scoring. Because I think Belichick's will Damian Harris finally get some touches? That's my question.
Right.
Because he has done nothing over the last few weeks. And man, Zach Wilson just threw an interception.
This
game was getting ugly in London, man. Ugly. It was a pretty pass, though, if that helps.
At least it was completed, right?
Yeah. So here comes my lineup of integrity. I took Kirk Cousins, 6,500 at home against Detroit. I coupled him with Justin Jefferson. Why did I take Kirk Cousins? Because I did it this morning in a flash and forgot to go back and change it. So it is what it is now. Derrick Henry, took him for the 9,000. He roasts Jacksonville every single time he plays them. And some of it has to do with the fact that Jacksonville's bad, and some of it has to do with the fact that this is Derrick Henry's hometown. So the Yulee night train is heading towards Jayville, and I expect another 150-yard game, something like of that magnitude. They do have A.J. Brown, so they might throw a little more today, but they do not have Julio Jones. So if Skillet Hands keeps dropping the ball, there you go. I took Williams for the Bears, 5,600. He's going up against the Raiders, and the Raiders 21st against the run. So I'm hedging my bets right there that you spend so much on Derrick Henry, you kind of have to take a cheaper running back right next to him, unless you're going to get really like bare bones cheap on your receivers. So Justin Jefferson at 7,700. I took Marvin Jones Jr. and Laviska Shenault at 5,700 and 4,800. Why? Because the worst secondary in the National Football League is coming to Jacksonville. And I figure the Titans are going to get a lead and try to pound it with Henry. And as he's churning up yards, the Jags will get the ball back and they'll have to chuck it all over the place. So grabbed both of them. So I've got a lot of interest in that Jacksonville game today. And then the flex position, I went with AJ Green. I don't know if a lot of people are paying attention to this. He's having a really good year. quietly last few weeks have done really well. He's available in a lot of leagues out there. If you need someone to add, to give you, a streamer or whatnot, this is a team that's probably going to be able to move the ball on a bad banged up San Francisco secondary. I won't call them bad. That left me with 2,300, and I went ahead and did the crazy thing, and I took the Washington football defense. They're at home. Jameis Winston is due to throw a pick six, and I'm banking that it's today.
Could be the day.
This could be the day. So it sets up perfectly. So there you go. There's my lineup of integrity, and Bobby will jump on here in a second. Let's go ahead and talk some lines that we like.
Let's do it.
We do have Jags Titans starting us off. So I want to talk that one first because it is an AFC South matchup. The Titans are a 4.5 to 5 point favorite, depending on where you're getting it at, in Jacksonville. 48.5 is the over under. I think I like Tennessee to actually cover the spread for once this week because they typically play well against Jacksonville. I don't know what it is. Even when Jacksonville plays other teams tough, I don't know if 4.5 is enough. And if they get Henry going, and they do have A.J. Brown back, so the offense shouldn't be as putrid as it was last week, they should be able to move the ball. And I swear to God, if Hurst goes out and gets another freaking touchdown, they just threw a pass to him. Okay, he fumbled down at the 12-yard line. All right, so.
Oh, you hate to see it.
The Jets got the ball back. But I swear to God, if Hurst goes out and freaking steals another touchdown from either Patterson or Pitts, I'm going to be ticked off. That was a terrible fumble too. Hopefully that sits his punk butt on the bench.
Keeping it PG.
I'm going to need you to sit on the bench here and think about what you did while we hand it to Patterson and Pitts there, bozo. And cut your hair. So Falcons Jets are on right now. If you're just joining us, that's what we're talking about. Falcons are blowing them out 17-0. Didn't think it would be that interesting, but I was hoping to see hopefully some fantasy points. And now I really need. I love the fact when you take the under and a team is driving and they turn it over inside enemy territory, like inside the red zone. That's a beautiful thing. Because now it should take a while for the Jets to get out of there. If the Jets do anything on this drive, you would hope it happens slowly, and hopefully we get to half with the total being around 20-ish. I liked my chances a lot more when it was 3-0 just a few minutes ago that they've been scoring left and right. Zach Wilson, I think he's still going to be a good quarterback, but I still think the tail of the tape on him is wrong. They talked like he was a decent sized quarterback coming out of the draft. Dude, every time I see him come up to the line, he looks like mini me taking the snaps. So anyways, I feel like someone lied.
You mean somebody lied about their metrics going into a draft?
I don't think he's 6 feet. He might be, but he does not look it. Okay.
Jaguars Titans.
Yeah. Jaguars Titans. I like the Titans -4.5 today. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going to be a little down on Tennessee after that loss last week to the Jets. I am the opposite. Usually when a team comes off of a loss like that, and a team that has a pretty good roster in Tennessee, I know they had their issues, but you still got Derrick Henry, you still got Ryan Tannehill. You alluded to A.J. Brown coming back. The Jaguars are helter-skelter. Yes, the Titans secondary is a mess, but Trevor Lawrence makes throws. Sometimes you're just like, dude, this is not college. It's a lot faster here. That being said, I like Tennessee today to cover that game. And what will be probably a high-scoring game, I'm thinking maybe somewhere in the likes of, 28-21, Tennessee, something like that.
I'll tell you what is a good teaser in my head. So the Steelers are now an underdog. They're 1.5. The Titans are a 5-point favorite. If you do a 6-point or 6.5-point teaser, you're going to get a touchdown and a hook with the Steelers, and then the Titans just have to win. So that's one of my favorite teasers today, because I do believe the Steelers will find a way to win today. But I'd like to have it hedged on the fact that I get a few points here.
Absolutely. You got to love those teasers. They tease you sometimes, as that's the name, no pun intended, but you got to take them while you can.
All right, let's move on to the next game. You brought it up a little bit. Let's talk about the line of the Houston New England game. What are you getting right now?
I'm getting 8 points right now. New England's -8.
Okay. Let's see. I've got,
which has gone down a couple of points since middle of the week, right?
That's
because of the offensive line issues.
Yeah, that's one that I haven't really paid attention to. So I'd be lying, because on the site that I go to, I don't remember seeing the line until today. So I think they had it off the board.
Okay.
Because I was looking for it the other day, and then you know how you get a text or whatever, and then you never go back and do it.
Right.
I'm remembering I was looking for that line the other day, and then something happened, whatever it was, kind of diverted my attention, and I never went back to it. So I don't believe I've seen the line until today. You can always, by the way, go to ESPN, and I've noticed on their scoreboard, they put lines up, but their lines are not accurate. Their lines are usually about 24 hours behind. So, but I'm getting 8 right now on mine as well.
Yeah, and when you look at that game, New England, everybody, even though they lost last week, I feel like it was the biggest moral victory given by the media to them, as they played close with Tampa Bay. And Houston, right, we talked about 18 points being a lot last week. Then they got their doors blown off 40-0. I don't think this is a good game to watch. It's going to be very ugly. I think there will be a couple of turnovers apiece on each side here. And like I said, I had it being around 21-10, and it seems like you might even go lower than that if I stand correct.
I just feel like I smell like a 19 to God. I mean, as bad as that offensive line may be, will Houston move the ball much on them? I get it that it's at home. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it's a close game, and it's 19 to what did we say the over under was? 39. It might get close, but I'll call it 19-16. So 35. I still think you're going to be safe. If you look at the number right now, they're projecting at 23.5 to 14.5 on the team totals. I don't think either one of them. Well, Houston may get the 14.5, but I don't think New England gets the 23.5. Would you feel comfortable enough to tease New England down where you only have to win by a point or two, or is this a game that you're kind of staying away from?
I wouldn't mind teasing New England down to 1. And then at the same token, if I had to put on the other side of that tease, I would probably go. I would pick the Packers and move that down as well and go with the Packers. And then I would go with the Patriots, teasing that down. So the Patriots and Packers, I would like that if I was a betting man on a teaser.
Yeah, I'm. If it weren't for the offensive line issues, I probably would have taken New England at, what'd you say it was 10? But I'll be honest with you.
And now it's down to 8.
Yeah, 8, right. With those issues, I think I'm steering clear of it. I feel a little gun shy with all what's going on there. I do like that Pittsburgh, Tennessee teaser.
You got to lock it in.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. Bobby's joining us now. I don't know if I haven't been paying attention. He's been sitting there for a few minutes, but you get locked into talking football talk, and then next thing you know,
hey, we're trying to make money.
Hey, Bobby, how are you? I don't know if you've been in the waiting room long. The thing sits off to the side, so I don't.
You're good.
So if you're ever sitting in the waiting room and you're like, "Let me in," just go to the YouTube thread.
Gotcha.
It sits right in front of me, so I can see what's going on there. But I keep trying to look over. I looked about 2 or 3 minutes before you were supposed to be on it, and then it just kind of slipped my mind. We got into talking, very, very interesting stuff, like the lines of the Patriots and the Texans. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing better now that the Falcons turned the ball over. I took the under. And the Jets did get it out to midfield. So a perfect scenario would be they have to punt here, and we start the matriculation between the 20s, and no one ever gets in the end zone for the rest of the game. Let's go ahead and start with your bold and cold predictions, and then we'll get back into the lines.
All right. So some guys I think are going to have a big day. I got Jamar Chase versus the Packers. As most of you guys know, I'm sure Jair Alexander, he's out for a while. He's on IR, so he's at least out for the next 3 weeks. But they're even looking at season-ending surgery, sorry. So I think Jamar Chase going up against probably Eric Stokes, I think he'll have a big day. Another one, Dalvin Cook against the Lions. They have not been good stopping the run. Really haven't been good stopping anything. I think Cook's going to have a big day. And the third one, I got Marvin Jones against the Titans. I think him and Trevor Lawrence, I think they're both going to have a big day. Titans defense isn't good. You saw what they let Zach Wilson do to him last week. I mean, it's bad for the Titans right now, and I think Marvin Jones, being the wide receiver 1 now in Jacksonville, he's going to take advantage of that. Some guys that I think are going to bust, I got Josh Jacobs against the Bears. They're the 8th defense against running backs in fantasy. I'm not a huge fan of Josh Jacobs either. Plus, they got Kenyon Drake to kind of take some of his snaps. So I'm not big on Josh Jacobs this week. Another one is Jalen Hurts against the Panthers. Although, I mean, they did add Stephon Gilmore, but he's not healthy yet. But that defense is athletic. They're fast. They get around the ball there. That's a good defense, and I think they're going to get after Jalen Hurts a lot this week. The third one is Antonio Gibson versus the Saints. I like Gibson, but he's going up against the 5th-ranked running back defense in fantasy, and he's nursing a leg injury right now. I'm not high on him. I think this could be a down week for him until he gets healthy.
By the way, so you get the Jets and Falcons over in London right now, right?
Yeah.
Next week, it's the Dolphins and Jaguars.
Not the most exciting.
How are you going to build this game when these are the matchups you're giving the London folks?
You're not getting many people to break their sleep schedule for these. Come on, man.
It looks like we're only getting back-to-back weeks. I'm trying to see. They normally do 4 games over in London, but I wonder if that was dwindled down because of COVID. I don't remember seeing that. I know last year there was the whole cancellation of it, but I don't see any other. So maybe there's only 2 this year. Maybe it's because of COVID they dialed it back, or maybe it's because London said we don't need 47 Jets versus Falcons type matchups, man. We good.
We're good.
We would much rather have the Tottenham Hotspurs in this. Yeah, it looks like we're only getting 2 because I go deeper and deeper in the schedule, and I know they don't do it late in the season. So
that's it. That's all we're getting.
That's wild because they were up to 4 before COVID. I don't know if they'll redo that. I'll put it this way. I prefer the Sunday morning game more than I do the Thursday night game. Because the Thursday night game, it screws everything with fantasy football. You have to make a decision right then if you're going to start these guys or not. Sometimes there's injury concerns and whatnot. It's just, and not to mention, it's a real crapper when you wake up on Friday morning, you're like, Russell Wilson just screwed me. I got 9 points out of that guy, and here we go into the weekend.
And his finger's broken.
Yeah, well, but he's a really good healer because he drinks magic water, whatever the hell he's peddling a couple years ago. It'll be fine. Get out there and play.
A picture he posted on Twitter. He was in a wheelchair nursing that finger. I'm not sure what he needs a wheelchair for, but I thought that was pretty funny.
Let's find out the name of that water he was peddling and not drink that. Because if a broken finger puts me in a wheelchair, I don't want anything to do with what you're trying to sell me, buddy.
What is this, Paul Pierce in the Garden? What is going on?
God bless. I got a headache, so they chopped my foot off. Wait, what? What? No. I don't need that magic water you're trying to sell. It's like, look, you huckster. This isn't in the early 1800s with an old crow medicine show over here. You know, I don't need. Anyways, let's get back into. Let's go ahead and hit your DFS of integrity, Mr. Bobby. What you got?
Awesome. All right, so at quarterback, I'm going to start with Daniel Jones at 6,000. He's going to go up against the Cowboys. Although Trayvon Diggs, he's been racking up picks the last 4 weeks. The Cowboys defense as a whole hasn't been great with allowing points. So I think Daniel Jones will have a nice day. My first running back is Zeke, also in that game, but he's playing the Giants. They're the 28th defense against fantasy running backs, and he's 7,000. He's been getting a lot of carries the last couple weeks. He's been putting up good numbers. I like Zeke. My other running back, I'm going big here, Najee Harris at 6,900. He's going up against the Broncos, which is great against the run, but I really like Najee. He's been playing great so far. He's also been involved a lot more in the passing game. So I think even if he's not terribly active on the ground, he'll still get some good points this week. My first receiver is A.J. Brown, with Julio Jones being out and them going up against the Jaguars defense, which is 26th. I see him having a big day.
Still in hands.
No, I think AJ is gonna have a nice day though today.
Still in hands. All right.
Be nice to AJ. Come on, I like him. That's my guy. No, he's going up against the Jaguars.
I want to love him, man. I really do. When he came on the scene,
this is gonna be a bounce back week for him. It's been a little bit rough to start off the year, but you'll see. Last year,
2 years rough. He stunk last year.
No, he didn't. Don't give him that. He was good last year.
I had him in dynasty leagues last year. He stunk.
Whatever. We'll see. This is gonna be his week though. Jaguars defense. Julio Jones is also out, so he's gonna be the main guy in this passing offense. I see no reason why he shouldn't have a big day. My second receiver is AJ Green at 5,100. He is going up against the 49ers defense. Not terribly good. They're having some injuries in the secondary. Josh Norman, I believe, is questionable. And AJ Green, he's actually been more. I think had more targets than DeAndre Hopkins so far this year, mostly because D-Hop's he's been going up against the number one cornerbacks on most teams. So I anticipate AJ Green having a big day for 5,100. My other receiver is Marvin Jones at 5,700. He's going against the Titans defense, which is 32nd against receivers in fantasy. Their secondary and their defense as a whole is just not good. Zach Wilson carved him up last week, and with Marvin Jones being the number one guy in the Jaguars offense now at receiver, with DJ Chark being hurt, I think he's going to have a big day. Tight end, I got Dalton Schultz. He's been a big scorer for the last couple of weeks for the Cowboys, and he's going up against the Giants. I really like Schultz. I don't have Dak this week because he's pretty dang pricey, but I still think Schultz will have a big day. He's only 4,400. He's not high up there for tight ends, but he's been scoring big. My flex, I got Fournette at 5,200 going up against the Dolphins defense. That game's probably going to be over pretty fast, more likely than not. And the Dolphins have not been good against the run. Fournette will probably be running the ball a lot today, and I'm hoping that results in a touchdown or two. Now, my defense, I got the Cardinals at 2,900. The 49ers offense hasn't been particularly bad, but Trey Lance was very inaccurate yesterday. I know he had that big touchdown, but if you watched it, it really was just a product of Deebo Samuel not having anybody anywhere near him. He wasn't very good yet on Sunday last week, so I'm not trusting Lance. I think he's going to throw a pick, maybe two, and I like the Cardinals defense to take advantage of that.
The thing about Lance, if you do have him, you do decide to start him, I think he can make up for his legs what he might not have on his arm. He played about half the game last week, and still had 7 rushes for 41 yards. So
he's good on the ground.
He will scamper. He had a good fantasy week last week, but by the way, the update on that score at 17-3 with 2 minutes left in the first half. Jets and Falcons, real
on the board.
Barn burner.
Yeah. We apologize to tear you away from such a great game.
Watch our show. Forget the football.
We've got. So, by the way, AJ Brown, 4 games last year of 100 yards receiving. 4, and that dude was going like in the third round, high third round. Yeah. My biggest issue with him last year was when he did poorly. He had some clunkers like Indianapolis, 4 targets, 1 catch for 21 yards. That's that. Now I expected it to change with Julio Jones being added. And then the beginning of the season, and look, I know Julio's injured and all that stuff, but beginning of the season, he was not seizing his opportunities.
Yeah.
That's my issue with AJ Brown. I think he's an incredible talent. I just hope he gets it together.
Yeah, I think Titans as a whole need to get together. It's been a rough start to the year for them.
Before we move on any further, how about my Seminoles?
Oh, railing it in again.
North Carolina, man, they're the disappointment of the year. That's for sure.
Oh, here we go. It's got to be that North Carolina stinks. It can't be.
That overrated quarterback they got over there, right?
Yeah. Here we go. It's all about.
Boy, Sam Howell.
Well, I'll tell you something about that quarterback. I never wish good things on him because he picked North Carolina over Florida State last minute and left them in the lurch. I guarantee Willie Taggart doesn't like that dude because when that happened, that pretty much spelled the end for Willie Taggart. Mm-hmm. Sam Howell, what a bum.
Sam Howell.
Roommate loves him. He's trash.
What a bozo. And your Alabama Crimson Tide, man, they really took one on the chin yesterday.
Yeah, tough loss for them on the road against.
You hate to see it.
Yeah,
so sad.
It was right after that. I came across a video on TikTok of these. I guess someone made a song. Like it's a country song that they're released it yesterday or the day before, and I can't tell you the gist of all the lyrics, but the essential theme of the song was he broke up with the girl because he couldn't stand the fact that she was an Alabama fan. And he just he couldn't listen to it anymore. And he's talking about, I like Sweet Home Alabama, but I can't listen to that song, all that kind of stuff. It was a pretty entertaining song. And I was like, did someone just make this? And I saw down below, they were saying, it's out on iTunes or whatever right now. Please go. And I was like, no, someone made this a couple of days ago. And it's just, it probably got some upticks because Alabama had just lost. All right, let's get back over to the spreads. No, okay, we're good. We were doing the AFC South. We'll move on from that. By the way, does anyone believe that the Dolphins are going to stay within 10 points of Tampa? Because I do not.
I could see that being like 34-17, something like around that line, 34-14. No
Miami's
chance.
Awful. I don't see how they're going to stay within 10.5. And unless they come out flat, they could come out flat after the big win against New England. You do expect an NFL team to eventually struggle. 10.5 points is a big one, but man,
it's too big for my liking. It's not something I'd put my money on, but I'm not confident in the Dolphins.
And I remember, and Mac, remember a few weeks ago, you remember when because Patriots Tampa last week, you're like, that's a spread I would look at, but the Dolphins playing so bad last week, that even has you pulling away from the Tampa Bay possible letdown game today because the Dolphins just look so trash.
No, and I was right about that, but I'm not saying.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. That's what
I'm not saying about this game. This game smells. It smells bad. It reeks. I don't want anything to do with. If I do anything in this game, it's going to be Tampa minus the points.
Correct.
The game that I do find interesting is that the Minnesota Vikings are a 10-point favorite against Detroit.
Did someone die on Detroit?
So this one reeks because it's like they're just trying to get you to put money on Detroit, and it's going to be a 40-point blowout.
I feel like it's similar to that Texans feel last week. The only difference is it was Buffalo. Minnesota is better than their record, but how much better than they are than their record for a 10-point favorite? Come on now.
Be a 10-point favorite. You're normally the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't see this at all. And I know I'm probably going to regret it and go, what in the hell was I doing putting money on the Detroit Lions? But I think I'm going to do it today. To be perfectly honest with you, I just feel like that they're going to find a way to stay within the number and talk me out of it. Why would I know? Is there some major injury that I'm not seeing on the Lions side why they can't hang? I mean,
I know they lost. They
play.
did lose Romeo Okora. That's a pretty big loss for them.
Well, we're not even sure that Dalvin Cook's going to play, right?
Dalvin Cook is playing, yes.
He is for sure playing.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know more on Joe Mixon is who I need more information on. But that's a different story. Sorry.
Here's information on Joe Mixon. Don't start him. And the reason why I say that is I think he's probably hobbling at best, and you're going to start him. You're going to be ticked off around the second quarter. When either A, they've pulled him out, or B, you're like, dude, they're not using him. And here's some even better information. Dude, start Samaje Perine. Don't do it. If you watch that dude run the other night, and this is against the Jaguars, he looks slow. He is not Joe Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think Burrow's a good play today, because I think they're going to be chucking it all over the field.
Yeah.
Bobby seems skeptical. What's going on up there, Bobby?
Skeptical of who?
Of me. What?
No, I'm with you.
The Florida versus Florida State guy.
Okay, because you had that listen like, whatever,
like
dude.
I'm more agreeing with you. Yeah, that's why I got Jamar Chase as one of my booms this week. So I'm all on board with that.
Well, I've got Joe Burrow. I've painted myself into a corner, and I've got Joe Burrow. I'm all Joe Burrowed up in a couple of leagues, man. It's either that or put Trey Lance in, and I'm concerned about putting Trey Lance in because of the unknowns. He could get into a shootout, and I'm going to be kicking myself, but I feel like I'm much safer putting Burrow in one of these leagues. I've got to get a W. If I don't get a W, it's almost like it's time to punt till next year. Stupid Matt Ryan won't quit throwing the ball over the freaking field. You're up 17-3, man. Chill out. 27 seconds left. Just run the clock out, you jerk.
Yeah, next thing you know, they'll turn it over, and it's 17-10 at halftime.
It's the Jets. They're not going to catch you. Just run the ball. Anyways, Joey, we're coming up to the top of the hour, which means Steven will be jumping on and Sean will be jumping on. So let's go ahead and get your lock and your one big thing today.
Yeah, my lock today is going to be the Carolina Panthers -3 against the Eagles. I think it will be a higher scoring game, but if it was on a neutral site, it'd be a pick 'em, and I don't make much sense of that. I think the Panthers bounced back after the Dallas Cowboys game. Management put more faith in them by getting a great veteran corner. So I think this team's going to come out fired up today and not let the Eagles get too close. I think at points it could be, but Panthers will trail off at the end and win pretty handily by, I think, like around 7 points. And my one big thing, a lot of people are going to hate this because a lot of people are high on the Chargers after Monday Night Football, but the Cleveland Browns will win by 5+ points today. Book it. The Chargers are going to have a big letdown. Herbert's going to get brought down the ground by Garrett and Clowney and company, and the Browns come up big victorious today. I know. Hey, they're 3-1. 3-1. Both teams, and everyone's acting like
trying to figure out if you've become like a Raiders fan. Like, there's got to be a reason why you're jumping all over this.
Believe me, I have a lot of bloodlines going around.
I look into some social media. If you've jumped ship of the Colts, and you're all of a sudden you've become,
I don't want to be a Raiders fan after John Gruden.
Got to be a reason why you want the Browns to win.
Urban Meyer, John Gruden, who you got? You all have a good one on that note.
All right.
See you later.
I don't know. What about Urban Meyer having to make not Urban Meyer. John Gruden having to apologize for something that he said 10 years ago. The guy's pulling up an email. Dude.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
How long you hold on to emails? 10 years ago?
He must have bet on the Raiders money line last week or something.
he's saying that what he said, I'm not going to repeat it because, whatever, that he didn't intend it to be racially charged, but now 10 years later, this guy's taking it as racially charged. He was referring to him as basically, you can't trust what he's saying. And the term he used, they're using racially charged. I've never heard the term regardless, so I don't know what its origin of and why it was. I mean, I thought it was a weird word, but at the same token, Gruden, hell, I mean, he might have heard it from his grandfather, didn't realize there was any. As far as I know, there's not racial motivation in it in the word, because I looked it up. But because they try to look fine for any little thing in cancel culture, and everyone's offended and made of paper mache, your generation sucks is what it all comes down to. They're soft, baby. They're soft. Let's go and take a quick break. We'll wait for the other guys to jump on in. We'll reset a little bit. When we come back, it is time for hour number 2, and we will get on the DFS team build, and we'll have the mash unit. We'll be back in a flash here on the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube. Keep it locked in here. We are live on CBS Sports Radio and 3 different stations this morning. And if you want to find us on YouTube, we do this every Sunday. We'll be back in just a couple of moments.
You say your name right now.
Denise. Nice.
That's better. Thank you.
Okay. I've noticed that Antonio Brown has found yet another sucker to take him on. God knows we've already done Pittsburgh's dirty laundry. I'm curious about one thing. Do you think that he'd be welcomed back as easily in the league if he were going back to Bill Belichick and the Patriots? In other words, you think that he'd be welcome back if he were going to make New England a better team, or if he's going back to Tom Brady?
Armchair. We are the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
What do we do? This just got way too complicated.
I've got it. Here's what's going down. Corey, you talk to your team. You guys are going to decline that holding call.
Done.
Yo, wait, but
Hold on. Trayshawn, once we break this huddle, you're going to get out there and do some crazy celebration. I'm talking some humpies. Whatever you got to do, you do it.
Okay, I got you.
I'm going to call unsportsmanlike conduct on the celebration, giving the wife better field position after the kickoff. Coach, I need you to talk to your team about letting them run that kickoff back.
Why would I do that?
Think about it. Defense, special team, it's all one. You let them run that kickback, both your defenses get 6 points.
Nice.
Okay, everyone good here?
Yeah.
Nope. Once again, my kicker is getting no love.
Oh, shut up, Bill. Your team is in first place. Plus, you're about to get an extra point for the PAT.
Yeah, don't be greedy, Bill.
Stop being greedy, Bill.
Fine.
Bill? Yeah, Bill.
I said fine.
Bill.
Bill? Yeah, Bill. You, Bill.
All right, let's do this. Get out there.
Wait a minute. Trayshawn comes in with a very delayed celebration here. Oh, wow. I'm pretty sure that's going to be there it is. Another
Armchair.
I said it like 4 times, so why didn't you say it the first time? Because it's pronounced Aaron. Son of a...
Armchair Quarterback Radio is AFC South country all NFL season long.
They hand it off Fournette. He's driving, and he's in for the touchdown. Wow. Drive starts at the 1 and looking for a little breathing room, and they get that in plenty more. Derrick Henry still going. Stays in bounds. He might go 99 yards to the touchdown. Unbelievable. 2nd and 10. 50 seconds. Walk down the field. And that is Hilton again. First and goal. Ebron. What a year for him. Eric Ebron. Touchdown. Ball slant. Brought touchdown. Marquise Lee. And he punched the ball into the stands. Deep. And he's got it. Keelan Cole. Touchdown Jacksonville.
Stay locked in to the AFC South on Armchair Quarterback Radio.
I don't return fruit. Fruit's a gamble. I know that going in.
Good morning. Welcome back here to CBS Sports Radio and our YouTube channel, however you're catching the show this morning. Handicappers here on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube. Find us today if you're listening on the radio. And if you got any questions on fantasy football that you haven't already sent to us, go ahead and get it in on the YouTube thread. I'm not going to be looking at the inboxes at this point. Welcoming on to the show is Mr. Stephen Troche. Stephen, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Hurricanes didn't play yesterday, so they couldn't lose. So I'm already 1 for 1 on the weekend.
So you jumped over to the Florida State side and rooted us on to victory, and everything is back to normal in the world of football. Florida State crushing.
I wouldn't say crushing, but
35-17 with a late garbage touchdown. That's a crush. That's a crush. I mean, it's not as bad as Florida State will beat Miami, but that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
We're back, baby. We're back. Also welcoming on to the show, we can't see him, but we ought to be able to hear him, is Sean O'Toole. Sean, how are you?
I am fantastic. 5 teams in the Big Ten in the top 10. I am going to go ahead and pre-warn everybody that my Michigan thoughts are going to be very NC-17 for the next couple weeks, because that was an ugly win last night. But having said that, good job, Florida State. If Spencer Rattler's draft stock is tanked, what do we say about Sam Howell's draft stock? Because I was hearing just as much about him.
Man. Rattler, they talked about him like he was the next, honestly, it was the next Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm. He's more like great value Geno Smith. He isn't even that good right now.
Yeah, I was about to say Geno Smith actually had a decent night the other night.
Well, I don't think Rattler is really going to have another shot either, because he's benched.
Nope.
I think Caleb Williams runs the show now.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it looks like I think Lincoln's done with him. He's probably calling the transfer portal 1-800 line on his Sunday off.
I like it's already been reported that he's already entered it. So
I'm sure if he wants to make a really bad decision, I'm sure Florida State will take him in. So let's go. Let's go ahead.
That's a much different conversation. But that's the dark side of the transfer portal is these Elite 11 kids who come in thinking they're gonna, win the Heisman their first year as a starter, and then if they don't get what they want, they're going to throw a temper tantrum and hit the portal. We'll see how that takes place over the next couple of years.
That is the reason why the portal was a terrible idea, and I said it when they first came out with it. I was like, you're going to get these kids that the moment they don't get their way, because everyone wants to think about it all happy and kumbaya. What about the kid who's 4th string on Alabama and can go start for Tulane and have a great experience? That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to get these kids. Ukulele's is going to be the next one in there. I just don't know if anyone's going to accept him except the Dr. Pepper commercial. That's about it. But I'm in the transfer portal. You're going to sit there. We're going to call that purgatory for you. You're just going to sit there and wait.
There's two sides to every coin. I love what the transfer portal does for mid-majors and schools that maybe can't get those 3-star guys that Alabama gets, but yeah, you've got a valid point. You're going to have a bunch of guys getting
the
Kyrie Irving NBA head thoughts every time stuff doesn't go their way.
Like I said from day one, and it's showing it right now. The transfer portal, there needs to be some kind of a when you enter a transfer portal, you shouldn't be able to play immediately, and in theory, you could do that. In theory, you could leave Oklahoma and transfer in, and if it gets accepted and the conference accepts it, et cetera, in theory, he could play somewhere else by the end of the season. It's not typically going to happen, but what happens if a team decides to bone up on especially now that you can pay him illegally, you just bone up and go, hey man, we need some defensive back help here at Alabama. Let's go steal a couple of guys from around the country. Maybe Spencer, maybe we get a reverse and Spencer Rattler heads to Alabama as opposed to when Hurts went to. Anyways, let's move on. Sean, do you have the MASH report for us?
Yes, I do. I'm going to go through the MASH report. Short and sweet. There was a lot of Atlanta and Jet stuff, so I'm going to skip that because if you didn't set your lineups, you're in bigger problems. Jair Alexander out for the Packers. Packers are considering whether or not he needs season-ending surgery. That's going to come up again later. because that puts a lot of strain on the Packers' other cornerbacks. And the Bengals are getting T. Higgins back today. So that is very, very interesting. Obviously, Dalvin Cook is still on the report again. He's listed as a game-time decision with that ankle injury. Looks like he's going to give it a go from the early reports, but I think he's going to be on a pitch clock. So gather that accordingly. Playing against the Lions, very suspect and depleted defense who lost Okwara for the season last year with a torn Achilles. Chase Edmonds is expected to play against the 49ers. TJ Hawkinson expected to give it a go against the Vikings. Jamal Williams also expected to give it a go. Teddy Bridgewater was listed as questionable after getting a concussion last week. He is expected to go. Cortland.
All right, we lost you for a second, so.
Sorry. Teddy Bridgewater.
A little past Teddy Bridgewater in
I think we're at Cortland Sutton.
Yeah,
Cortland Sutton, questionable, still remains a pregame decision per head coach Vic Fangio. We'll see if he gives it a go. Khalil Mack, questionable, is expected to play. That matters, obviously, since he's the linchpin of the Bears defense. I'll give you a couple other ones really quick, players that are expected to go today. Elijah Mitchell of the 49ers, Chase Claypool of the Steelers, A.J. Brown of the Titans, and for the first time in a long time, Josh Gordon expected to suit up and be dressed for the Chiefs tonight against Buffalo. Players that are still out, Jimmy Garoppolo is out. Obviously, Trey Lance is in. George Kittle was put on IR, means he's out for at least the next 3 games. Julio Jones, Gronk, both still out. Logan Thomas out for the Washington football team. Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton both still out for the Giants. That will matter if you have some Kadarius Toney stock. He'll come up later. I'm going to mention him. And David Montgomery out for the Bears. He is being replaced by former Chiefs running back Damian Williams, who I know is a popular ad on the waiver wire this week. And that is it.
All right. And Dalvin Cook, what I just read, it looks like he is going to play, but it hasn't been confirmed yet, correct? Anybody?
Yes, it is not. It has not been confirmed yet. He is expected to play, but all reports out of there that he is going to be on about a 20 to 25 snap maximum with that ankle injury. So now against the Lions run defense, that may be enough for 200 yards, so it may not matter. But plan accordingly if he is one of your main guys.
If he's not one of your main guys, what did you do to cheat? Dalvin Cook's not one of your main guys. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. Steven, give me your cold and bold predictions today.
Well, I'm going back to the well on this one. My cold prediction is Derrick Henry will not go nuclear against Jacksonville. We saw it last year, or like early in the season, they went into Jacksonville as a decent favorite, and while Tennessee won the game handily, Henry only finished with 23 carries for 80-something yards, 0 catches, no touchdowns.
I told him early in the game, too, because they were kicking the crap out of him. So,
which, I mean, is a possibility.
I would not make a bet on that. I will just tell you that now. He has owned the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He has owned the Jaguars, but most of those big performances have come later in the season. I went back and checked the numbers. He is a lot worse. He's a lot better when he's in Tennessee. I will say that. Like, that is a big factor here.
I could be wrong too. In that game, yes, that was the early game in Jacksonville. It was a Thursday night game. Taylor Lewan was out. They actually had 3 offensive linemen that were missing in that game. And so that had a lot to do with that. So I don't know if I would put a lot of stock into what he did last year. I'm just putting it out there. If you're benching Derrick Henry, I'm just going to throw this out here. You're an idiot. But anyway,
I'm not saying to bench him. That's more if you're playing DFS, find other running backs. Don't pay up for Derrick Henry.
All right.
And then my bold prediction, Devontae Parker was ruled out earlier today. We got Preston Williams is going to be active. I'm going to call a touchdown for him. The Dolphins really want to see what they have there. If they do, this is the perfect time. They're going to get some volume. Tampa has not been able to stop the pass at all this season.
Yeah, they haven't been able to stop anything. That's going to be a rout. Sean, cold and bolds.
My cold prediction is everybody is really all over the Dallas Cowboys after beating the Carolina Panthers last week. I still think the Panthers are a nice feel-good story and will probably compete for a wild card spot. But I think their record was leading people to believe they were something they're not. And also, I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are as good as they looked last week. So I'm going to take Dallas to have a down week, and you're going to hear some Giants in my lineup of integrity because I think Dallas is due for a little bit of regression. My bold of the week, in the same vein, but flipped, and this is not a dig at Brian. Well, it's not meant to be a dig at Brian anyways.
Sure it is.
I really like the Bengals.
Why
I think
not?
they're – here's that word.
Right, Steve?
Here's that word you like, frisky. I think the Bengals are a frisky young team, but I think they're a little high on their own supply. They won a game against Minnesota they deserve to win, and they could just as easily be 1-3 as 3-1. I think Green Bay is going to go in there and beat the brakes off of them. I can't believe that line is 2.5, and that'll come up again later if nobody else has already taken it. But that's my bold prediction. I think the Packers are going to go in there and eat lunch.
I will say one thing: the Vegas line prop for Derrick Henry's 116.5 yards over under. They're usually pretty close to. In other words, it's going to be right in that realm. I wouldn't take that over. I would be a little concerned about that. No. That's a high number. I mean, if the game flow, what if Tennessee fumbles the opening kickoff? Tannehill throws an interception early. The Jaguars get up 10-0, 14-0, whatever. And you're like, they're going to keep running the ball. And, so, yeah.
And they have A.J. Brown that's back this week.
Yes, right.
Exactly. More weapons there for Tannehill to basically take pressure off of
Right. But we all know Vrabel would prefer not to have to use him much because Vrabel would love to just pound the rock.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. That's going to be an interesting game. I've got a lot of picks going into that. Let's go ahead and really quick, Sean, if you can just rattle off your DFS of integrity, and then we'll do Stevens, and then we'll hit the team build.
Actually, Steven, can you go first? I got to pull mine up. Sorry, driving, guys.
Yep. I'm going to go first. So I'm rolling with my cash lineup once again this week. Quarterback, I'm going Trey Lance at 5,700. He put up 20 points in one half a play last week and has to go into a dome, and he will be playing from behind. I don't really need to say much else there. Running back, I went Derrick Henry at 9,000. For cash games, he's going to be.
You just said stay away from him.
But for cash games, I got my reasoning.
Is it because you're drinking? Is that what?
No.
You said cold prediction, and you're going to pay. Okay, go ahead. Anyways, go ahead.
No, cash games, he's going to be incredibly popular, most likely more than half the field. You have to just bite the bullet there. Just like in case he goes off, if you don't have him, you are not going to cash no matter what. That tournaments more stay away, but cash games you got to play him. My other running back, I went James Robinson at 6,000. I think he's really starting to really get the lion's share of the workload, and I think he's gonna have a good day today. Receivers, I went Jamar Chase at 5,800. Jerry Alexander's on IR. I love the potential there. Jacoby Myers at 5,600. He's turned into Mac Jones' favorite target. Love the matchup against Houston. Jalen Waddle, Tampa Bay at 4,800. Tampa Bay gets shredded by the slot. I don't know what Miami was thinking last week. He had 3 catches on the first drive and then didn't see a target the rest of the game. But price hasn't gone up. A great matchup. Devontae Parker's out. I could see a big week here. I punted tight end. Logan Thomas is out this week, so I went Ricky Seals-Jones at 2,500. He ran 36 routes last week. He's getting a decent amount of targets, and that offense just runs through the tight end. I love the value there. My flex, I went Devontae Adams at 8,200. Just top receiver on the slate. I agree with Sean. I think Packers are going to have a field day today. And then my defense, I went Washington at home against New Orleans for 2,300. Just Jameis on the road. That's it.
Okay, Sean, really quickly, if you can just rattle yours off so we can jump over to the lineup of the DFS team build.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Daniel Jones at 6,000. I've seen some deep dives on him, and I guess I didn't really realize he's actually about the 7th most efficient quarterback in all of football. He's only turned the ball over twice this year. He had already had 10 turnovers at this point last year. So I'm starting to buy into him a little bit. And I really liked what I saw out of Saquon last week. So I'm going Jones and Saquon to start off, taking Austin Eckler after that at $7,600. He's a little bit on the pricier side. And people could be scared off by Cleveland's defense, but remember, he's a primary pass catcher in that offense as well, especially on sweep routes and wheel routes. And Cleveland does not exactly have the best linebacking core or the best cornerbacks. They really live with getting into the pocket up front. And the Chargers have been very good at stopping that so far this year. So that'll be interesting. Next up, our boy, Bo Cephas, $4,300 for the Lions. Look, I don't think the Lions are going to be competitive in this game. I think they're going to lose handily. But I also like their ability to cover. They've covered in 3 or 4 games this year. And I think they're going to be frisky towards the end. And Cephas is one of the few guys who can really catch passes and get open as long as baby hands doesn't fumble the ball or let it hit him in the groin. T. Higgins coming back at 5,000. I know I said Green Bay is going to eat against Cincinnati. I still believe that, but I also think Cincinnati is going to put up some points in this game. One more Giant to mention, Kadarius Toney. This is a guy that really jumped out last week. If you watched the game or if you watched any of the tape, and with Slayton and Shepard both still out, don't pay $7,900 for Galladay. Pay $4,000 for Toney. Jones seemed to have a really good rapport with him. They use him on a lot of bubble screens. He can get a lot of cheap yards that way. Tight end, I went Dallas Goedert at $5,100. Hurts is starting to find him a little bit more, especially around the red zone. He's been targeted 10 times inside the 20 this year. Just on touchdown target share alone, he's probably going to get you something. Justin Jefferson at $7,700 is in my flex. I don't need to say anything more about that. I think Minnesota is going to eat. And then again, I'm taking the Vikings defense. They're only $3,000. I think their defense is better than people think it is. And they're facing, a Lions offense that it's missing 2 of its 5 best offensive linemen and most of its cornerbacks and pretty much everything else you can think of that's worth a darn. So,
okay.
There you go.
DFS team build. Bobby, it's your turn to make the double pick. So start us off here, sir.
You said it. You're not big on AJ Brown, but I'm gonna go with Tannehill and AJ Brown as my stack. I'll start with them.
That sounds
great. Gotta do it. I know you
great.
don't like it, but I'm seeing this as a big week for AJ.
I don't see how this can go badly in any way, shape, or form.
Whatever. You'll see it this week.
Whatever, dude. All right. Steven, go ahead and throw us the next pick there. So we got Tannehill at 6,400, AJ Brown at 5,200. That's how you do it professionally, Mr. Bobby. And over
and AJ Brown's at 6,500. That's Antonio Brown.
Oh, sorry, I got it pulled up on the little hoobie there, and it doesn't have the. He's how much? 65. Okay, I see him now. All right, gotcha. All right, 6,500 and 6,400. Steven, where are you going?
I'm going to lock in one of our running backs. I'm going in the same vein, save a little bit of money here off the top expensive running backs. I'm going to go Aaron Jones at 7,900. I love the match. Like it's a little bit of a tough matchup, but I think that's it. Like he has big potential this week and no one's going to have him.
There's so many red dots all over all the guys up in the top 10. It's like, God, going through a minefield. Sean, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab our defense. That's not the first thing that people look to grab, unfortunately, but there's a couple that I really, really like this week. The one that jumps out at me the most straight off the bat, I'm going to take Bobby's Cardinals at 2,900. I'm going to explain why. Rookie quarterback on the road in what is definitely going to be a hostile environment for an undefeated team. And look, they have won more of their pass and run downs in blocking rate than any team in the National Football League. J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, Isaiah Simmons, all the guys up front are really flying around and attacking the ball. And you got a guy in his first start. I know everybody loves the Shanahan genius component, but Kingsbury and Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator of the Cardinals, really has them playing at a high level. So at that price, you can't beat it. Sack and turnover potential alone could net a lot of points.
Okay, so I got to reset this thing because evidently I was in one that was on early games only. So I just want to make sure I'm accurate when I put this thing in here. We had Tannehill at 6,400. We had Aaron Jones at 7,900. Wide receiver was AJ Brown. What was he? 65? Is that what he was? 65?
6,500. Yep.
And then Sean, you went with the Cardinals and they were 29. Is that what? Yeah.
2,900. Yep.
All right. So it's my go. Let's see here. I will defer to something else down the road. I'll give y'all some better options. I'm going to go and take Schultz 4,400 going up against the Giants. I think you save a little money there. And for once, I don't waste our load on Kyle Pitts. So let's go with Schultz at 4,400. I think he'll probably get close to 7 or 8 targets and should pay off. All right, Bobby, what is your next pick?
We'll stick with that Titans Jaguars matchup. I'm going to go with the other team though. I'm going to go with Marvin Jones at 5,700. Like I said earlier, Titans are 32nd against receivers in fantasy. DJ Chark is hurt. Marvin Jones, he's going to have a monster day, I bet. So we'll go with him for 57.
Chenault too, because they have found ways to put the ball in his hand. I'm expecting Chenault to have a good day. Steven, it's back to you.
Well, since you mentioned it before, I really do like the matchup here. Antonio Brown against Miami, he's 5,200. I think Miami gets Byron Jones back this week, but Howard and Jones should be on Evans and Godwin, which leaves either first round bust Noah Igbo on him or undrafted second year player Nick Needham, who has shown real potential, but that's Antonio Brown he's going up against, and I don't like the matchup there for the Dolphins.
So I'll take Derrick Henry at 9,000, leaving Sean with 2,000 for a flex.
That's messed up.
It's not even possible.
Sean, I'll give you the next pick. So we've got a running back in flex open and a remaining salary of 5,500 a piece, essentially.
Okay. So I'm going to grab our second running back and leave you a little bit more meat on the bone to play with for the flex spot. And where I am going to go is I am going to take Mr. Leonard Fournette at $5,200 against Miami. I think Tampa Bay has shown a propensity for obviously throwing more than running. But when Lenny has gotten loose, he's gotten loose big. You saw a bunch of big gains early in the game last week against New England, and then they kind of went away from him a little bit. But it seems like Rojo's still in the doghouse for fumble reasons. So give me Lenny at 5,200 against the Miami defense that, aside from a few moments here and there, has really gotten gashed, especially up the middle.
All right, and that leaves us with the flex spot, and he fits in nicely there. And since we've been talking about him, let's go ahead and throw Jamar Chase into our flex. And so that will give us down to $0. What was he? 5,800. I've already left the room.
Yep, he's 5,800.
So that gives us Tannehill, Aaron Jones, Fournette, Brown, Marvin Jones, AJ Brown, and Antonio Brown, Schultz at tight end, Chase, and the Cardinals defense, and that will be your winning number today. So there you have that. Mr. Bobby, before you dip out of here, what is your lock of the day and your one big thing?
Sean, I hate to steal it from you, but I've had my eye on this for a while. Packers -3 versus Bengals. Like everybody else has said, I think the Packers are going to go in and just stomp them this week. Burrow's been solid this year. He has. And he's going up against a defense that lost their number one corner. But I think the Packers offense is going to be a lot to contain for the Bengals defense. And I think it's going to be a rout. I think the Packers easily cover that. And then my one big thing, I'm going to say Jameis Winston. He's been inconsistent this year. I think he's going to go on the road against the defense that has failed to perform up to their expectations of Washington. I think he's going to do well. I think they're going to get a big win on the road.
You don't have to apologize to me, Bobby. After the Cardinals win last week, I know you went crazy, got wild, and drank some vitamin D milk instead of skim for a change. So enjoy your Sunday.
I was very happy. I was happy and a little bit surprised too last week.
All right. Well, Bobby, we will see you next Saturday on the Dixie Football Nation, of course, on Sundays on the Handicappers. Good luck to your team, and we will see you around the corner.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and dive into the Stardom Sit-'em segment of the show. And this is where if you've got any start-sit questions, throw them out at us as we will be answering all of those. We also have ones that are already sent to us. So give me a second here to pull this up. But get off here. By the way, so the Packers Bengals game that everyone keeps referencing, got a question on that one.
Mm-hmm.
The over under is 50.5.
Woo. That's low.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
I'm kind of liking it. By the way, so Tones wasn't able to be here today. He's going to the Bucks game and had a really late flight. It's a long story, but I sent him the link to play in the DFS of Integrity. He says it's giving me trouble because I'm in Florida. I'm in Florida. Steven's in Florida.
There's no that in free contests. There's no restriction on state.
I know, but there's it's like whatever, man. You're doing something with your VPN or something. It's like what? All right. Anyways, moving on from that nonsense. Let's go ahead and how is it the old guy is always the one that knows more about technology than everyone else in the room? It really is strange. It's like I should be over here like trying to explain to you on an Etch-a-Sketch or something. All right, let's go ahead and hit the DFS of Integrity as I pull it up and try not to do what I did last week where I accidentally closed out the freaking window. Got too many windows open on the regular. And if there's any other injury news that anyone sees, just kind of blurt it out to me because I'm not paying attention. I've got to read it off of this. I do want to make sure that everyone knows. I'm waiting to make sure that Dalvin Cook is going to go. I've got him in a couple of leagues, and I'm on the fence with him, but because of the snap count question. But man, you really hate because he normally has big games against Detroit, so you really hate going, oh man, they're going to on a snap count, and they come to find out it's all BS, and they hand the ball to him 28 times. He's sitting on your bench.
Only part of my hesitation is he said on like Tuesday or Wednesday, like without a doubt he's playing today. So I think this is all just
smoke screen.
Yeah, I'm
bluster.
It scares me.
Yeah, I also believe that guys like him, they rarely practice during the year anyways. Ever since the new CBA came into effect and whatnot, your practices are limited. You're pretty much just going over stuff. You're not hitting each other, right? And you're pretty much just going over stuff to make sure that they understand the scheme for that week. You think Dalvin doesn't know how to take a handoff? I mean, it's
actually this just in not looking good for Dalvin Cook to be active today.
Really? That's wild.
10 minutes ago, but yeah. But there's that, but then Joe Mixon's going the other way. It's looking like he's going to be playing more than originally thought. Just keep that in mind if you have him on your team.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fully prepared to have no shares in Mixon this week. I think I picked up P-Ron in a couple of places, but yeah, that kind of scares me.
I've got that terrible league.
Dalvin officially inactive.
That is wild because I would have thought that it was all smokescreen, just like you, because that means if you've got Alexander Madison, you probably want to put him in. He has disappointed a little bit, but I will say this. In that terrible league that I'm in, that I've got to make a decision on my flex spot every week that just turns out terrible. I think I'm going to have to roll and grab him before someone else in the league does. At least I know I won't go up against him. If y'all that league I'm in, I'm gonna leave it up to y'all. I picked him up just so if nothing else, someone won't grab him. Would you start Madison or would you start Damian Williams?
Madison.
Sean?
Yeah, I would start Madison as well. That's a tough one because I actually do like Damian Williams, and he's as good of a pass catcher as Montgomery is against Vegas.
I've got James Robinson and Chubb, but I feel like you got to put them in.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions are so – I mean, I know I'm the resident Lions fan. Our defense is so banged up, and we just lost one of our best defensive players in Okwara. I mean, of the team's top 20 guys under contract, like 16 of them are either on IR or gone for the year. It's just – it could get ugly.
Would you bench I mean, I can't bench Chubb, but would you bench Robinson?
I wouldn't bench either of those guys for Madison. I would throw Madison in your flex, honestly.
You know, in theory, I could put Madison up there at the running back position, and the guys I could put in the flex would be Tyler Boyd, Mooney, or Devontae Smith. But I feel like I'm better off putting Madison and James Robinson and rolling like that. It's a full point PPR, but I don't feel like Boyd is going to be the guy today. I feel like it's going to be more of a Jamar Chase show.
Yeah, I mean, if it were Alexander, I would say if Alexander were in, I would say play Boyd, but yeah, I'd go Madison.
Well, and Higgins is back for Cincinnati too, which is, he's a big target.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna steer clear of that mine. I somehow I won, even though we put Hines in last week. In that league, he got -2 for fumbling a punt.
Oh God.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on with these freaking rules, man? But he doesn't get credit for the yards from returning a punt. Because if that's the case, I'd just be picking up punt returners left and right. Here we go. I was like, who in the world came up with this terrible? It's a combination of the commissioner and a combination of NFL fantasy. Stupid. All right. Let's go ahead and get into this before I blow my brains out over here. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Deontay Johnson, Emmanuel Sanders, or Hubbard in a PPR, full PPR.
Deontay Johnson.
That's
easy.
I don't have anything to add there. Yeah, that's Deontay all day.
Okay. Sorry, I was getting a text from Bobby. He's basically telling us what we just talked about Cook me and out. Gesicki, Schultz, or Knox. Just one for the tight end slot.
Woo.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I would go with Schultz, and I'll tell you why. Dave made a really shrewd pick with Schultz. I know they've got Schultz and Jarwin, but look, the Giants' best linebacker at coverage is Blake Martinez, who's out for the year. He's on IR. Torres, I don't remember what he tore, but he's done. So their linebacking core is not strong at all. Schultz could really eat today. I like Knox because you can say the same thing about Kansas City. So it would be between those two guys. There's just Allen is such a wild card. I don't know where the ball is going, especially in the red zone, and he's just as likely to run it in, whereas Dak is not. So I'm going to say Schultz.
All right. The next one, this is for a flex, and Corey Davis is one of the names, but that game's already kicked off. So Damian Williams, Jacoby Meyer, or Leonard Fournette. Sean.
Damian Williams. Jacoby Myers is now officially in my burn book. I can't even look at him anymore. It's like he broke into my house and killed my cats. I'm just so done with that guy. Give me Damian Williams.
Steven?
I'm nowhere near that done with Jacoby Myers, obviously, since I'm playing him today. But, yeah, give me Damian Williams there. But I don't think that either of them are going to be separated by too many points.
Yeah, I think I like Williams too, because my concern would be if that Tampa-Miami game gets out of hand, they don't want to wear out Fournette. So it could be a muddling version of them just running the ball up the middle for 2 yards every time they hand it off to Ronald Jones Jr. But or the third or whatever the heck he goes by.
Yeah.
But the problem with Rojo is there's not 5 downs in football, and you have to average 3 yards a carry to be able to get a first down. And that's the problem with Rojo. If there were 5 downs in football, it'd be a much different situation. Knox, well, never mind. He said Knox or Pitts, but that game's already kicked off. We'll go ahead and say Pitts since he already found the end zone. We'll take credit for that. Amari Cooper, Cortland Sutton. Now, where are we at with Cooper? Is he going to play?
He's in. Confirmed.
Yeah,
play.
he's in.
He is in. Okay. So Cooper or Sutton? Steven.
I'm going to go Cooper here. but I really don't have a strong lean either way. I mean, they're both pretty. I think they're both fairly decent plays today, but I'm slightly leaning Cooper.
Sean?
I would go Cooper just because Sutton was, expected to play, but was kind of a game time decision. And you're not going to get a lot of intel on whether or not he's on a snap count. And I don't know how much Denver is going to be trying to throw the ball anyways. That could be a ground war.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cooper. I mean, I'm just going to go with the more talented player. And the much better quarterback. So next player or next question is, do you go with, this is for a flex, Mooney, Damian Williams, or Devontae Smith? It is a full point PPR. David.
Go Damian Williams.
You have your keys?
He still has a decent amount of upside in the pass game.
You don't have to turn it off. Just get in.
I don't know what. All right, here we go. All right, Sean finally muted himself. You hear dogs barking. You got your keys? All right, let's go.
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
I can tell. I guess I'll go with Williams in this one. The problem with Mooney is.
Oh, come on, stop.
Until we get a couple more.
Like I can control.
You are not muted, man. Quit screaming at whoever you're screaming at. All right. Okay, we'll move on from that one. All right, here we go. Brandon Cooks, Jamison Crowder, AJ Brown, Tyler Boyd, Curtis. Man, all right, hold on a second, Steven. We'll reset here.
Jamison Crowder's out, so we can or he's already going. So
it's Brandon Cooks, AJ Brown, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel, T. Higgins, maybe 4 or 5 other names. Who do you like in that?
The two that stood out to me there are AJ Brown and Higgins.
Which one do you like?
Give me Brown.
Okay, I'll agree with you. We'll see if I think Sean's back. Oh, okay. He's actually home and in front of his something. Well,
sorry, guys.
If you're done beating the hell out of the neighbor or
no, that was never get married, kids. That's it. That's all the advice I have for you. That's it. Bobby, if you're still listening, never get married, man. Never.
Is that why all your hair is gone, or?
No, well, that's most of it. Yeah, that's not all of it though.
All right, I've lost my place. Let's. Sorry,
we just did the AJ Brown, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd one.
I got to get that as a clip. Anyway, okay. Kareem Hunt or Allen Robinson, Sean?
Man, I said horrible things about Hunt. I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, and then he went ballistic. He went ballistic. So I'm a little gun shy about not saying Hunt, but I'm going to say Robinson anyways, just because I don't think Vegas can cover him. And another week of Fields, having live snaps, he could target him even more than he did last week, and he had nice targets last week.
The Allen Robinson shares owners, they've got to be freaking out right now, right?
I am.
You have
him everywhere.
Yeah, I've got him in a couple leagues. I don't have a big share, but I was like, my God, every time I see the score, I don't even want to see the score line. Just want to put him in and go, whatever, dude.
Oh, he's on my bench until further notice.
Yeah, I did have to bench him in at least one league that I'm thinking of. And I don't remember who I replaced him with, but I was like, dude, you're going to have to burn me, baby. That's just, I mean, whew.
Bobby Trees came out this week.
Yeah, he did. I was finally right about that. It only took 5 weeks.
This can't be real. Someone's asking, should I trade Cordero Patterson for Dalvin Cook? Who in the world is trading you Dalvin Cook for Cordero Patterson?
Listen, we played fantasy for a long time. We've seen some folks. I'm not saying it's impossible. I've met some folks.
Maybe in a guillotine league that's the only thing that I could see why you would even consider that conversation, but that's not what it says.
Yeah.
If someone is that dumb, you absolutely grab Cook. But
I mean, you can't hit submit or confirm or accept on that trade fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder if someone actually sent that or if they're just screwing around going, hey, man, what if I trade you? You're getting your all hopes up and then, kick you in the grapes. Wah, wah, wah. Kittle is out. So the question is, what tight end do I pick up? And her choices are, Tunyon, Brait, or Hunter Henry? Steven.
Out of those three, I would go Tanyan. Yeah, I'm going to go Tanyan there. But I mean, I like a couple of the names I mentioned him earlier. Ricky Seals-Jones, he should be getting a good amount of play this week. And then Ross Dwelly as well. He's going to be replacing Kittle in the starting lineup. He should be available in almost every league.
I don't know. I'm just looking at what he could be in a deep league and someone could have screwed him and just picked him up going, yeah. I'm not starting him. Neither are you.
Tanyan's my choice there, though.
Sean?
Yeah, I agree. Tunyon has a higher floor but a lower ceiling. You're not going to have an 8 for 115 and 2 touchdowns games. I would say Hunter Henry, at least for this week. I know this is more of a long-term projection because Kittle being on IR was the start of the question. Henry against Houston could be a huge play today, especially if that game's a little bit up and down the field.
2-part question. Has to make, I guess he's already put his flex in. So the question is, in running back 2, does he put Hubbard or CEH? And then in the wide receiver position, is he putting Jones Jr.? I'm thinking that's Marvin Jones Jr. or Higgins. Steven, start with you. So is it Hubbard or CEH in one spot? And is it Marvin Jones or Higgins in the other spot?
CEH and Marvin Jones would be my pick. But I don't hate T. Higgins at all this week. I love both of those. Can't go wrong there.
Sean?
I'm going to go CEH and Higgins. I spoke about Higgins earlier. He's a big target for Burrow. He was a big target of his last year before they had Chase, and he's really the 10-yard and out guy. He's the move the chains guy. So if it's a PPR at all, he could be huge. And CEH, despite us having his funeral, I think after week 2, showed some signs of life last week.
All right. Next one up is Marvin Jones, T. Higgins, or Jalen Waddle. Got to start one. Steven.
I mean, I got to go Marvin Jones there again.
Sean?
Call me crazy, but I'm going to go Waddle just because I think that game is going to be bananas unless they're expecting bad weather, and I haven't seen that. So if there's not a bad weather situation, that could be your 41-34 game this week.
Who's scoring the points from Miami?
It's Gesicki, Waddle. Yeah, I mean, could be all kinds of ways. I don't trust Tampa. Tampa's defense looks good. So
yeah, the only reason why I'm a little hesitant of even taking Tampa minus the 10 that they're giving up today is because that was a really emotional game last Sunday, which you typically don't get in the NFL. Typically it's all business. And could they have just be a little worn out this week, right? Could Miami sneak in? I'm not going to say that they can beat Tampa, but could they cover the spread? And so that's the only thing. But I still think I'm going to take Tampa in that slot. It seems like that line should. And by the way, Sean, I've already taken Detroit earlier in the week. It was up to 11 on my book, and I bought a hook, so I got 11.5 going into that game.
That's hot.
I don't understand that line. It's at 10 right now. I don't understand that line.
Yeah, I don't, especially with Dalvin out now. That may be even better value.
Right, but even before then, it's like Minnesota's 1-3 on the year. I don't care how talented you think they are. They're not doing a good job of winning, which means covering an 11-point spread is not ideal. But it's strange to me. I guess we're going to speed this up a little bit, looking at the clock. So, Sean, Gibson, Fournette, or Javonte Williams?
I know he's hampered by a shin injury, but give me all the Gibson you can for as long as you can. He hasn't steered me south yet, and the fact that he's playing with a bruised shin is double tough, man. Double tough.
Steven, you going James? This is a flex. James Robinson, Jamar Chase, or Mike Evans?
Give me Jamar Chase.
Sean, with Cook out, now do I start Jamal Williams or Miles Sanders?
Like either one of them. I do like Jamal, but just because
I had this issue in the league, and you know what I did? I streamed Latavius Murray instead. I don't want any part of this mess.
As maddening as he can be, I would start Sanders over Jamal Williams just because Swift is still basically the primary back and catches a lot of passes.
I think I know your answer, Steven, but OBJ or AB?
Antonio Brown.
Sean, in a PPR format, is it Damian Harris, CEH, or T. Higgins in the flex?
I'm going to say CEH of those three names.
All right, Steven, this is just a general question. Someone picked up Williams from the Bears.
Okay.
Do I need to pick up Herbert for insurance? And if so, would you drop Tony for that on your bench?
I wouldn't say it's necessary to get Herbert for insurance. I mean, like he's still a 6th or 7th round pick this year. So we don't know if he would get work. I would just depending on what else is on the waiver wire. I don't think I'd be ready to give up on Tony yet, though.
Sean, in a standard format, non-PPR, are you starting Damian Harris, Damian Williams, or AJ Brown?
Damian Harris, Damian Williams, or AJ Brown. Call me crazy because he's burned me in every way you can burn someone this year, but let's go AJ Brown.
Steven, in the flex, Tyler Boyd, Emmanuel Sanders, I believe this is Damian Williams or Hunter Renfrow.
Damian Williams.
Sean, are you going Tannehill or Lance today?
Tannehill. Give me a break. I haven't seen anything out of Lance except that he can run the ball, and that might not go well today.
Steven, McKissick or Singletary? Is that Mike Singletary? Do you get tackles?
Give me McKissick. The Moss looks to be the true lead back there.
Man. Sean, CEH, Damian Harris, or Madison?
CEH, Damian Harris, or Madison? Give me Madison.
The CEH run going up against a tough run defense, does that worry y'all at all today, or are you looking at the fact that he's probably going to get dump downs as well? And I know Buffalo's supposed to have this stout defense. I still think that's a shootout tonight.
No, I mean, no, like rough defense. It's like tough run defense aside. The Bills aren't game planning to stop CEH. They're game planning to stop Tyreek Hill. They're game planning to stop Travis Kelce. I think they're going to let CEH burn them, and just if that happens, it happens.
I also think everyone could be overreacting to the Bills' defense because, like, man, they look great. They've shut down the Texans in a rainstorm. They shut down
Jacoby Brissett.
The Dolphins. They shut down
the Steelers. The worst offensive line in football. Right.
Defense is all time. We're gonna find out tonight. Unless there's a way to, like, some kind of video game version of, like, import the 85 Bears defense. I think I'm starting CEH. Let me see here. AB, Josh Jacobs, or James Conner? Sean.
Yeah. AB, because I don't like the other two.
Steven, Brandon Cooks, AB, or I don't even know why he's asking this, or Cortland Sutton.
I put Cooks third there. I'm going to go Courtland Sutton, though, over
Really?
AB.
Okay. Sean, this is a Jaguar situation. So, Steven, I'll throw it to you. How about that? You going Chenault or are you going Marvin Jones Jr.?
Jones. He's more likely to see the end zone.
Yep.
Sean, Allen Robinson or Renfro? Are we really asking this? Wow, it's crazy.
I mean, if you're,
and it's a legitimate question this week, but it's like, how did we get here?
It's still Robinson. I mean, I love all the Hunter Renfro discussion because he's everything you want out of a football player if you're a head coach, but for fantasy, Robinson.
All right, two more real quick, and then we'll get into our locks. Steven, Zach Moss. Well, never mind. I got to throw that away because the other two they've already kicked off. Let's go with Devontae Smith or Renfro or Galladay in the flex.
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. All right, Sean. Last one, Hubbard or Fournette or Miles Sanders?
Ugh. All three are gross, but just for variety's sake, let's go Miles Sanders.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get into our locks of the day as we pull up the slate. By the way, to give you an update on, I know everyone's on the edge of their seat wanting to know what's happening with the Jets and Falcons, a combined 2-6 record. It is 20-9, and the Falcons are driving. It's about 10 minutes left in the fourth. So my under that I picked this morning is looking decent right now. They're gonna have to score. They're gonna have to score 3 times in the next 10 minutes for it to blow. So we'll see what happens there. All right. I don't know whose turn it would be necessarily. Steven, what is your lock of the day?
So was Joey on earlier? Did he give one?
Joey took Carolina -3. Tones was not on. Let me see. Yeah. I think he gave me. He might have given me a lock. Give me 1 second to double check that.
Like while you're checking, I'll go ahead with mine. I mean, I really like KC -3 at home today. Like we talked about before, like the Bills defense likely is not as good as we've seen so far. And Kansas City is, while they have looked really rough to start the season, they get a primetime game against likely an AFC championship opponent. They're going to want to make a statement tonight.
KC -3. Is that what you said?
Let me double check the number, but it was around there. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
By the way, I found Tones's. It is the Washington football team, and they're getting 2.5. So he's taking Washington plus 2.5. We got to get you off the schneid, Steven.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think it's just karma for last year. Like I ended the season 8-0, so it's regression.
It's something. So we are, by the way, on the season. We've 10-9 overall with all of the locks. So we do have a winning record. It's just not the boat race that we had going on last year.
Which was always unlikely to continue, but fair enough.
Hey, it is still early, and there's an extra week in this year. So
I like your moxie. I like your moxie. Oh, wait a minute. That was actually last week's number. So we're 10, 12, 14, 16, and 16 and 13. So we are looking better. We are looking better. All right. So we're 16 and 13 going into today. Sean, what is your lock, sir?
My lock of the day is going to seem an odd one, but stick with me for just a second. I'm going to take the Chargers to cover the 2.5 at home against Cleveland. This is obviously one of the marquee games of the day. I think this is the Nance Romo game in the afternoon on CBS, the national game. I've gone back and forth on this and what I think I believe about these two teams, but I believe in the Chargers. I believe in Justin Herbert, and I think they're going to cover the 2.5. I still think the Browns are the best team in the North, but I think the Chargers might be a tick better than anybody was anticipating at this point. And Herbert's, just an absolute stud. I don't need to give any data to prove that point. So Chargers -2.5 at home.
On the fence for a couple of them, but I'm going to go ahead and go with what I said, especially with the injury now. Give me the Lions. I've got it at 10.5. I just feel like I can see the Lions even winning this game. I'm a little surprised. The other one that I'm seriously considering just on my own personal side is Pittsburgh getting one at home against Denver. How much practice did Bridgewater get in this week? And eventually, man, the Steelers are going to have to play with some pride, and they're at home. It's early kickoff for Denver. So realistically, locally, it's an 11 a.m. kickoff. It's not quite an West Coast, East Coast, but I did take it on a teaser. I took Pittsburgh teasing it up to 7.5 when it was at 1.5 earlier.
Yeah, I like that.
I took that. And what was the other part of the teaser? For the Titans to just have to win. So I've got the Titans +1.5 and the Steelers +7.5. I feel like the Titans getting AJ Brown back. And did anyone listen to anything that Urban Meyer said this week in any meeting? Whatever, dude. Whatever, man. Dude, the whole time he was talking this week in practice, were they going, yeah, we know, buddy. You fancy like Applebee's on a date night? That's
favorite.
My
favorite tweet of the last week was from the at Reddit CFB Twitter account, which put up last night. Urban Meyer's wife has hit the transfer portal, confirmed. that's pretty funny.
Should have done it years ago when he was diddling the help in Gainesville. That was the whole reason why he had to leave Gainesville, and then all the junk that went on at Ohio State. I can't believe this. This is what this guy does. What do you mean you can't believe?
I have. There have been some bad owners in the history of sports, but I can't recall a dumber rich person than Shad Khan, who has just gone from one bad hire to another for what seems like a decade now.
Well, look, he has too many yes men around him.
Yep. That's all the reports.
Somebody is standing next to Congo. Dude, I'm telling you, man, that stash is killer, man. Just keep it. That is an awesome looking stash. That's all you need to know about him. That's all you need to know. If he's walking around with that stash, everybody is in his corner is a yes man. He needs one person going, what are you nuts? This is the stupidest thing I ever see. He needs one guy like that.
Yep.
And I am for hire. So, if you want me to sit in there, be the one jerk in the room, you're all idiots. This guy's going to be in Southern Cal before it's all said and done. Let's go ahead and
I will take 1/3 of whatever you are paying Charlie Strong to do whatever it is he does for Urban Meyer. I will gladly take that job. Whatever it is Charlie Strong's doing.
This is I think we have a Corey Davis sign. I think he finally caught it. No, it's Mims.
Davis is out of the game. He got hurt.
Of course he is. Like, why wouldn't
he? Of course he is.
Because I had to start him, and of course, why wouldn't he be hurt?
Why wouldn't he be hurt? Because he scored like 35 points on my bench last week, so I put him in. Why wouldn't he be hurt?
That league sucks, and the rules suck, and it's doomed. It's cursed. That team is cursed. I'm telling you. So I hate to break it to you, Alexander Madison, but you're about to tear your ACL. What is your one big thing that's going to happen today, Mr. Steven?
I think it's going to be the day of the dogs. Like we've already talked about a couple of them. Pittsburgh. We pulled the sheet again. Pittsburgh, Washington, Detroit. I think you could just go ahead and bet like all the underdogs against the spread, and you probably would come out profitable today.
Long pass was just attempted by Wilson. He had, I don't know who that is, but anyways, this is typical Falcons. Number 24, what looks like it's Tennell, but I can't quite see it. Terrell, Junior. He goes to defend him. He collides with him, knocks him on his butt, and then he gets up and does this number. Meanwhile, in the background, there's like 7 flags going up in the air. Dude, you moron. It's like, you broke those rules. Sean, what is your one big thing?
My one big thing is everybody should keep a very, very close eye on the Bears and Raiders game. I have gone back and forth on this game. I don't know which way to go. I haven't put any action on it just because I don't feel great about it in either direction. But I think the Raiders are significantly better than the Bears. So it's either going to be a blowout or the Bears are going to sneak attack everybody. But I don't have the guts to put anything on it.
My one big thing is Michael Carter's going to find his way into the end zone as he just scored a touchdown. By the way, if you did take the Jets plus the 3, you've got a chance to push right here. They're going for 2. My one big thing today, I'm actually going to go with baseball.
Okay.
First of all, I hate to break it to you, Chicago, but I think you're done.
Done.
I think it's over. But the Rays will find a way to. They do get the 2-point conversion, so it's 20-17. So we got ourselves a ball game in London. Tampa Bay gets a lead on the series. They find a way to upset Eovaldi, which advantage Boston. It's in Boston, but I think Tampa Bay is going to find a way to bounce back after just laying an egg the other night. So if you want a football take, honestly, I believe that the Cowboys are going to put up a lot of points today. Now they may give up a lot of points. I don't really like that spread, but I know the Titans better win. If not, it's gonna be a long season. We'll probably still win the division at like 6-11, but still. All right, guys. Well, great job. We will see you next week here on the Handicappers, and everyone make sure to get your DFS in. And also remember, if you've got a guy who is on your slot who's playing an early kickoff, you've got a guy on the late kickoff in like your wide receiver running back flip-flop, because you never know if someone stupid happens in the next couple hours. I've had it happen to me before. Put off starting your flex as far back as possible as you can.
That's DFS season long everything. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given in fantasy.
Yeah, because you just never know. You're like, what do you mean he slipped in the shower? Like what?
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing, but then I can't. And then you.
What do you mean the team doctor stabbed his lungs?
What do you mean?
Right.
What do you mean someone sneezed all over him? Now he's in COVID protocol. All right, guys. See you next week.
Good luck. Have a good day.
Yes, sir.